From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production, the NFL Bet Exchange, hosted by my man, Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Jeff Dawson.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and this is the NFL Bet Exchange, and I'm joined by my co-host, my main man, my big brother, the man himself, the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson. What's going on, Jeff? How's everything going today, brother?
It's Thursday. It's time. It's been going well. NFL has been, on this show, we've been rocking and rolling, and that's great. An amazing start. But, as you know, NFL stands for any given Sunday. And as easy as you can go 11-5, blink, get cute, and then you're 5-11 wondering how you're going to pay the man on Monday.
Right, exactly. You up. Hey, it's like Sinatra. You up in April, then down in May. I'm high in June, and I'm trying to get it back in July. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. At the end of the day, we got a Thursday night football game tonight between two teams that I don't think that when they scheduled it, they thought it was going to be this one-sided of a matchup. You know what I mean, Jeff? I think that they probably thought that this would wind up being, pretty good for people and everything like that and stuff. But before we get into that Thursday night matchup, let's go ahead and see our results from last week. I wound up going 7-9 last week. Pretty much, afternoon was terrible for me. I only got the Cowboys home in that regard. The Lions kind of, pissed it off for me a little bit. And the Chiefs minus 155 wound up flopping in the end. And I should have just went with my first thought and said that, let's just play the dog on Sunday night because, we had a nice, little favorite win the opening night for the first game around for the Sunday night football. So, pretty much they kind of alternate overs and unders and dogs and favorites and stuff like that, Jeff. And so pretty much let me get done with my losing week, even though 7-9 is not that bad. Jeff was downright whooped me this week, though. He's 22-10 on the season, another 11-5 week for Jeff. He was absolutely tremendous. He swept the afternoon as well, too, but he wound up being on the Lions as well, too. So we both kind of, got messed over by a team that had a good look. They looked good, Jeff, in the first half. But that goes to show you that Goff can still play quarterback, man.
I look at back-to-back weeks here, and what I was more, also wanted to point out is that we got the Panthers home plus the 140. We got Dallas home plus 130, and then we snuck in the Ravens plus 130. So again, 11-5 back-to-back weeks, 22-10. 68.75% is great. Anyone following these plays, you're doing well. But you know what that means? That means stick to what you're doing. That doesn't mean, hey, I'm a $50 player. Now I'm going to do 75 or 100 because this guy's on fire. Again, it's a great start. And as you're going to see this week, what we've decided to do again is try to create more value and edge. Taking the 6.5s to 7. It's going to take 8 or 10 to beat you. And it's a marathon, guys. If you just won back-to-back weeks and you're running out getting the fresh pair of Air Jordans and you just got your car all detailed and you're living large, eating out every day this week and last week, well, guess what? The man's going to come knocking sooner or later. You better be prepared.
Yes, you better be prepared because, these schedules, especially with this week right here, week 3 is when the season truly kind of gets in gear, but week 4 is when it starts being like you can throw up anything you want, but you still might not wind up having the results that you're looking for. You know what I mean? It's not going to be any locks after week 3 just because they're 3-0. Okay, we got teams that are 2-0 right now that will not make the playoffs, and me and Jeff both know this. And actually, for a fun fact, I think there's only 5 to 7 teams that are actually undefeated at this point, and that's absolutely insane to me, to be honest with you. So let's go ahead and we can talk about that all day, but let's go ahead and get into tonight's game. And tonight's game is going to be between the Panthers and the Texans. The Panthers coming in here minus 275. The Texans are a plus 300. as well too. That's not right. That's actually should be a minus 375. I don't know why it was a 2, but yeah. Regardless of anything, Panthers are a minus 375 tonight. The Texans are a plus 300, but you have to understand the line has raised since I set this up on Tuesday. So where are we sitting at right now, Jeff, in this game?
Currently, right now, I'm seeing 8s all across the Vegas board and a 43 for the number. And I'm just going to state this. The opening week we were both on, which we thought was the play of the day, was the Texans as a dog to the Jaguars. I really, really, really wish Tyrod was playing tonight because I'd be all over the Texans again. This is Carolina's, don't forget, first road game. Okay, they were amazing. Well, let's say they played a great first half against the Jets. And then last week, I thought, was a nice spot for them, and they went box to wire. So again, they are the better team. The whole world is on the Panthers. You got a buyer's beware here. First road game, 2-0 against the backup quarterback to boot. And this, we talked earlier this season, Pops, this Panthers defense is for real.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing that makes me be like, I'm not worried about what happens in the results of this game. And you know me, I usually like to be on the doggy side of things, but you know what? I can't be silly here. That's the whole thing. And I'm not saying anybody who's taking the Texas tonight are being silly, but I'm just saying me being silly because I know how I am. I'll be like, give me the money line too. So pretty much I'm going to go ahead and take minus 7.5 on the Panthers as well, too. It's at 8, but I would do what Jeff always likes to do, buy the hook, buy down, so then you can put yourself in position to actually do well in this game, even if, hey, you might want to even say, you know what, just to look at it, maybe you might want to spend minus 160, minus 170, buy a 4 point. You know what I mean? So you can give yourself a chance to push at least as well, too, just in case this game gets close. But when I see a team that has 10 sacks in the first 2 weeks of the season, 21 quarterback hits, and they've only given up 21 points, it gives me a lot of confidence against a rookie quarterback that's really being thrown into the jungle without any type of weapons or anything of that nature. And it's going to be tough on Mills tonight. So, Jeff, what are your thoughts on this game?
We went the other way here, again, just on principle alone. Short week. A home team, Mills, they're going to have to play ball control. They're going to have to play keep away. The one thing that you do know on a short week is defense does travels. So if Carolina gets out early and then Mills decides that he's going to chuck it every other down, it's going to be a long, long night. So, again, when we put the plays together, we were on the Texans plus the 8. We bought the hook. You can actually, if you did that now, you'd be getting them at plus 8.5. I honestly want to say, anyone listening to this show, you might want to have taken a look at the first half here. You get a good feel on exactly what's going to happen here. You might be able to steal the first 30 minutes and grab the 4.5. You could be looking at a 13-10 game and win the first half. But we're going to take a swing here, Pops, with the Texans plus 8. It's a game where, again, the Thursday night, the primetime games have been down to the wire, the last plays of the games. That's what we're hoping for here, Pops.
All right. Sounds good to me, Jeff. We move forward from there. Let's go ahead and get into, and let me go ahead and run the video real quick because I paid for it. That's Thursday night football for you guys right there. And Thursday night football, you guys already know. You guys get into that. But now we got the Sunday early games. The Sunday early games should be good. We have ourselves the matchup from the 1991 Super Bowl. The Washington, formerly known as the Redskins, now the Washington football team, will be named very soon in 2022 against the Buffalo Bills, who everybody thought was going to be able to get their revenge that day against that Washington Redskins team that had second-rate quarterback and, Mark Rippon and everything like that. I hate to rip on Rippon like that, but we all know the defense pushed that, and the offensive line was able to be very good as well, too. All those veterans that were still around from 87, 88, that was helpful as well, too. So pretty much let's get to today's game, and this is a polar opposites, far opposite. I don't see Heineke as any Mark Rippon type, you know what I mean? And I don't see this team being a Super Bowl contender or anything, but they have a Super Bowl type defense. And I think at the end of the day, the Washington's going to play really hard here, but I don't think that they'll have enough to beat the Bills offensively because they have to make this a 10 to 17 to 14 game to really even possibly think about winning the game. And that's going to be tough. But Heineke, I know, is going to get a lot of love because what he did Thursday night. But that Giants secondary is absolutely atrocious, Jeff. And I think that you're going to get a different feel when you get the Bills, who already have a bad taste in their mouth, and they're not going to drop 2 home games in a row either, especially not to a team like this. What are your thoughts?
I agree. Bills played a great first half in the home opener against the Steelers. Then a block punt turned that whole game around. If you're breaking down the numbers here, Vegas has got this right around that 27-17, 28-17 number. Again, we went favorite here. We took the Bills minus the 9. We don't expect that Washington will score 17 or over. So we're looking for the Bills to get that, let's say, 27, 28, 30, 31 number. So we like the Bills to get their first win at home.
All right, so this is where I'm going with this one, Jeff. I couldn't pass up the value here, the +9. I think Washington keeps this game very close. I think what happens here is that the Bills win by a touchdown or less. But what happens, though, is the Bills have a significant lead in the fourth quarter, and then a backdoor situation occurs to where they don't cover the game. That's how I'm betting this game. That's how I'm looking at it as well, too. +9 Washington football team. I like it. I like it a lot. But here goes a quick note, though, for you guys as well, too. Washington's actually 0-2 against the spread this year, but they haven't had a spread this high, and they've been a favorite in both of those games as well, too. This is the first time they'll be an underdog this year, and I think this is a good number for them as an underdog. Jeff, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, same thing. Again, we talked about first road game for the Panthers. Again, this is for Washington. And sometimes, listen, you start your first 2 games, 2 tough opponents, 0-2 at home. It's good to get on the road here. But again, I don't think Washington will score over 17. I think the Bills can, even though Washington's a good defense, I think they can get that 27, 28, 30, 31 number. So we're taking the Bills minus the 9, Pops.
It sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Bills Mafia will be happy with the Don. The pizza and wings for you Sunday if you pull up over at the parking lot. Just don't jump on the table, Jeff. All right, next up, we have ourselves a very good one here with the Ravens at the Lions. Lions jumped out 17-14, +9.5 doggy this week as well, too. The Giant, it's really bad that the Lions, the first 3 weeks of the season have been a +9 after everything was all said and done. 11.5, +11.5, now +9.5. I really think that the Lions are getting absolutely no respect, but it's understandable because they have the worst coach in the NFL other than Cliff Kingsbury. Seriously, Dan Campbell, I liked him as an assistant. Thought he was decent as an assistant, because he was on Hard Knocks and all that stuff. And kind of he wasn't really that good of a coach then. It just was that, you had a good unit and it's TV and, they'll make you look good. But Dan Campbell is the biggest problem with this team right now. And I feel so bad for Jared Goff that he's going to get the majority of the blame for it. So literally, when I look at this game, the Ravens got to get their first win, got to get a good win on the road this year. And this is a good sparring partner, as Deion Sanders would like to say, what we used to always say. This is a good sparring partner for him, but this is the type of game that can get one-sided fairly quickly, and the Ravens take advantage of really bad teams, and Lamar has done that literally his whole career. Lamar doesn't struggle against bad teams. Literally, they blow out every bad team they've ever played since he's been the quarterback, and both me and Jeff know this. So pretty much this is not hard for me for where I'm going. I'm just going to kind of jump the gun a little bit and go -9 to the Ravens. Jeff, it's that simple. What are your thoughts on this game?
I agree with everything that you said. I mean, Vegas is telling you that the Ravens are going to put over 31 up on the board. Detroit, again, if you go back to that home game against the Niners, they were getting shellacked. Then they got back-to-back touchdowns and 2-point kick. That was the clear backdoor little Joe. We're going to take the value here. We're a glutton for punishment. We're going to take the Lions plus the 9. We're going to hope and pray that they keep it within, double digits here. And most likely it will be a late touchdown, maybe by Swift or Jamal Williams or Cephas or someone, or Hawkinson, to cover the 9. But it's not going to be pretty, Pops.
I'm done with the Lions for now. I'm not doing anything with the Lions. I'm sorry. All right, so pretty much here we are, our final game, our last game before we take our first commercial break. We got a good old rivalry game, and don't worry, disregard what you call it. We know it's the Titans. We know how the Titans helmet looks as well too. So pretty much we got the Colts plus 200, and then we got the Titans minus 250, and pretty much this one right here to me is a game that a lot of people are going to overbet the Titans with, because they're going to get excited about Derrick Henry, what he did last week, blase. And then they'll be like, well, they beat the Seahawks, so they're pretty good. But I think the Seahawks are missing something defensively when they probably this will be exposed when they play the better teams in the NFL. And the Colts didn't start off kind of bad the first week of the season, because to me, they had a quarterback that didn't really practice with them for training camp, and he thought it was going to be like Philadelphia his rookie year. He could just step in and the Colts were automatically going to be good. And now he's hurt with two. Now he got 2 ankle injuries as well too. So it's looking like he's not going to play this week. And I like the backup quarterbacks that the Colts have, especially Jacob Eason, a guy that I feel should have been a little bit more highly regarded in the draft that he was in, but he was in the draft with your boy Tua, Justin Herbert, and the first pick in the draft himself. Who was the first pick in the draft last year? Who's the quarterback? There's 3 of them that they go crazy about.
I got a brain cramp here.
Me too. But all in all, though, is it Kyler? Yeah, it was Kyler, wasn't it? No.
Who?
Is Kyler in his 2nd or 3rd year?
No, this is 3rd.
Okay. All right. So, all right, whatever, it don't matter. So pretty much, all in all, though, Jacob Eason is a damn good quarterback. And I think that he'll be able to show all of us Sunday that he's a damn good quarterback. And I think that the Titans still have some real big issues on defense. So this can be a good game for the Colts to be, a team that figures out some things that
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. Yeah, I'm sorry. How the hell do I miss that one, knowing Joe Burrow was all world in college that year and everything like that? But we got on suits and things like that. And me and Jeff been dealing probably with 100 clients already today. So so sorry for that. So pretty much all in all, though, you had the big 3 that got drafted in the first round, and Eason kind of got overlooked a little bit. I would have thought that he would have went well before Jordan Love, but the thing is, though, that didn't happen. So pretty much he does wind up in a situation with a very good coach. So what I'm doing here, Jeff, is I'm going to take the +5 on the Colts here in this spot. I think the Colts could be a very, very annoying situation for the Titans, like they've been the last few years. They've went to Nashville? Yeah, Nashville, and giving them some fits. So it is what it is at the end of the day.
This is the exact same spot that the Titans were in last week going to Seattle. Your Colts now 0-2 at home, 2 tough games, a quarterback with 2 bad ankles, a game that they got to win by running the ball. I think Jonathan Taylor will have a huge day. It doesn't matter who's behind center there. And defensively, you got to stop Henry. You could see that game last week where the Seattle defense was getting winded in the second half. And by the start of the 4th quarter, there was no way they were going to stop Henry. And they came all the way back. I really, really, really like the Colts here plus the 5. Anyone listening here today, I would even sprinkle some beer and pizza money on the plus 200. It's a divisional game. Hey, listen, you can start 0-2 against 2 non-divisional opponents and then jump on the bandwagon, pop the Titans at home, and then be 1-2, but 1-0 in the division. So we like the Colts here plus the 5. And like I said, sprinkle a little beer and pizza money if you want on the plus 200 as well.
Yep. Be cocky. Be confident. Be a better. Don't be a sap. You know what I mean? Don't be like the rest of these, like the rivals. And just try to settle for things that are just comfortable. Can't be comfortable in this business, brother. I'm sorry. But with that, we'll be back. This is the NFL Bet Exchange with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the man himself, the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson. We will be right back to you for some more early games.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we're back with the NFL Bet Exchange. It's your boy, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, Mr. Don the Cape Cod himself, Mr. Jeff Dawson. And pretty much I just say this because we do have our things kind of mismatched right now. So, yeah, it is what it is. But, man, if you guys don't run up on Jeff and be like, hey, Pop DiBiase, I saw you. All of our Northeast people and everything like that. Jeff might go to the casino in Rhode Island. They'll be like, I thought your name was Jeff Dawson. How you the Pop DiBiase? All right, so let's talk about it. We got the Saints this week, plus 130. Saints are actually averaging 29 points a game as well, too, but they only scored 7 last week. So it kind of doesn't make sense in a sense, you know what I mean? But they had a 38-point opener, you know what I mean? One thing that they aren't doing well, though, is they're not getting the yards that they used to get. Jameis is only averaging 131 yards a game, and then the run game is only getting 109. They are the last place offense when it comes to yards per game, Jeff, at this moment. And pretty much you got a Patriots team that's somewhere right there in the middle, but what the Patriots are doing very well right now, they're getting picks. They're number one in the NFL in that category with 5 already. And I think that's something that they can go ahead and put their cap on because they know they're going against a guy in Jameis that throws a lot of picks. So pretty much this thing is like this. And pretty much this is how it's going to go for me in this one, Jeff. I really do feel like the Saints are going to have 2 bad weeks in a row. It's just that simple that's not going to happen, okay? And I think a lot of people are going to be so gung-ho on the Patriots and Mac Jones and Belichick and blah, 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 blah. Okay, look, Tom Brady's not here anymore. This is a different situation now. This isn't what it used to be, okay? The Patriots are back to being the Patriots from 1995, 96, you know what I mean, where they're a middling team, okay? So let's just forget about the Patriots being a dynasty anymore. That doesn't exist, okay? But all in all, Saints bounce back this week. I'm taking money line on the Saints this week, Jeff. I don't care, and I'm taking the plus 130 on them this week. What are your thoughts on this game?
After week 1, the Saints were the talk of the town. I mean, they just absolutely humiliated, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. And then they go into Carolina and they just get shut down. And kind of talked about this the first 2 weeks. You're probably going to get the every other week of Jameis. Now they come into New England 1-1. 0-1 at home. They lost to Miami, the home opener, and then they just picked apart, no pun intended, Zach Wilson and the Jets. What you also got to understand is this: the Patriots are 1-1. Next week on primetime Sunday night, they host Tom Brady and the Bucs. It's a big thing. Okay, if they lose here, they're going to be 1-2 and facing the Bucs with an opportunity where they could be 1-3. But I am looking at the opening number of 45. Vegas had this pegged at 24-21 final. Okay, the line, the under over now is dropped. I'm looking at it right now, and it's down to 42 and a half, 21-20. 23-20, 23-21. Okay, we bought the hook. We're taking the Saints plus the 3.5. I think it's going to be a competitive game. Belichick will do his best to take Kamara out and have Jameis try to beat him. And then again, the secondary maybe with a few more picks. Post game throughout, we take the Saints. We bought the hook plus the 3.5, Bobs.
And just to add a note before we move on to our next game, that defense for the Saints, even though they didn't look great last week, but they didn't give up much. It was just, the Panthers found themselves in a great field position. That defense was golden week 1, and I think that defense is going to take that as motivation what happened in week 2 and bring it into this game right here for this rookie quarterback. So I feel bad for Mac Jones because I think the Saints are going to be on his butt left and right in this spot as well too. All right, let's go ahead and move on to a game over at MetLife. I go to MetLife to go look at beatdowns on a Sunday because I'm a New Yorker. Look, Jeff, what are we doing here? Lines makers, what are you doing here? I pretty much thought the Giants' defense is awful. It's awful. And the offense isn't much better. Okay, they had a good week against the Washington football team, but they could have won the game if they didn't have to keep settling for field goals. Turnovers got them in that spot as well too. And the way that they lost that game Sunday, the Giants have now entered the new phase of how can we lose the game? All bad teams go through it, Jeff. You know this. Lions, Browns, who else? Just can't ever win a game. Chargers. You know what I mean? Just can't ever win any type of game. Even if you have a lead, it just, you're going to blow it. You know what I mean? And that's where the Giants have entered now. They have a quarterback that's below average as well, too. I don't care. I'm saying it. Daniel Jones, I'm not sold. If I was a GM right now, I'm trying to get Cam Newton's agent on the phone by the end of September. If I really want to be good, if I really want to win a division this year. But all in all, though, Jeff, my point is this. The Falcons got blew away last week. The Falcons got blew away week 1. They played against Eagles team that's going to compete in the NFC East and in the NFL and all throughout this season as well, too. Then they got beat by a team that's probably going to be playing in the NFC Championship, at worst, the divisional game. And pretty much they have a better resume of who beat them than the Giants. The Giants got beat by a Broncos team that nobody is taking seriously. And then they get beat by a division rival in Washington last week in a game we all know that they should have won, but they did everything to lose the game. And pretty much it makes too much sense that after 2 weeks of getting bulldozed by a running quarterback and a top tier offense the next week, then you run into this below average quarterback, you're not going to lose to him, Jeff. And they haven't lost to the Giants in some time. So I'm taking the Falcons plus 135, 48.5 point spread as well, too. That's probably going to wind up being an under as well, too, because both teams are going to figure out ways to be bad on bad. But all in all, plus 135 to the Falcons. They get themselves their first win of the season. Matt Ryan makes everything look good. And just the way that they got whooped the first 2 weeks of the season, 32 1 week, Jeff. Then what was it, 48 last week, 45 last week? Okay, something got to give. 77 points in the first 2 weeks. Then this below average offense walks in here with a gimpy running back. Come on, you guys got to take care of your business here. Atlanta doesn't take care of their business here, they're only winning like maybe 2 games this season, Jeff.
Well, if that's the case, then they'll be back into the quarterback room, which they should have taken Justin Fields over Kyle Pitts, but that's another story.
Right.
Looking at these numbers right here, it opened at 43.5 and 2.5. Okay, it's up to 47, even 48 in some spots, and I'm seeing threes all across the Vegas Strip. Okay, so take the initial number 43. They were saying basically 24-20. 23-20, somewhere in that, and now all of a sudden it's the over, and they're not sure which way to go. We took the hook here. We bought the hook here. We get the Falcons plus 3.5. We understand this is supposed to be Saquon's coming out party, his third week, a team that he should run. He should probably score twice, run for 100+ yards. It's a game of quarterbacks. If Matty Ryan, who's the king, the official leader in the history of NFL, from leading the team from 20-20 and kicking field goals, okay? You can't do that. You got a generational tight end. You got Calvin Ridley. I mean, come on. We know you're ending your career sooner than later here. You've been great, PC alumnus, whatever. Take the points, buy the hook, Falcons plus 3.5, play some defense, and, get off the schneid, win a damn game.
Right, because that's the only thing that worries me about Atlanta is the defense. But we knew this – the final preseason game on NBC, that Atlanta's defense was terrible. Even though they didn't give up a lot of points that day, you just know that the defense isn't going to be good because the scheme isn't good. You know what I mean? And it's that simple. You know what I mean? And they just don't have that guy on the defensive side of the ball. The offense is fine, but the defensive side of the ball is missing that star back. You know what I mean? The star, as they would like to say now. You know what I mean? Okay, so we move on, and we got a good old division rivalry game here with the Bengals and the Steelers. And what happens here is that the Bengals people have caught on to the Bengals being a covering team. They cover, boy. They cover, okay? And a lot of people are on them now. Like last week, you love the Bengals going into Chicago, which was a great bet. You love them going into the Minnesota game, which was a great bet, because we both understand that the AFC has been really good against the NFC the last few years, especially the AFC North. That's where literally why the Browns got to the playoffs last year, because they were able to dominate the NFC East. You know what I mean? So pretty much you got the Bengals coming in here plus 170 today. Got the Steelers minus 200. Now, the Bengals have mixed it up. They had a road game and a home game. Now they're back on the road, okay? Home game, road game, road game. So they got 2 second road game in a row. They showed some life, and that's what you like about this Bengals team, that this ain't a team that's going to lay down, okay? That's not what they're doing. And they got a quarterback that's probably playing off a lot of adrenaline right now because he's coming off that injury, but he's not being timid. He's going about his business as he did before. That's beautiful to watch. But he goes into Pittsburgh this week against a team that's going to be really, really fired up for this game. But I think that this could be an overstep by them as well too, Jeff, because the Steelers still think that they run everybody, and it just doesn't work like that for this team anymore. But I think, though, at the end of the day, if you get a healthy Roethlisberger, well, he's not going to ever be healthy again in the NFL, but if you get a feasible Roethlisberger out there, I think that the Steelers can win this game by a touchdown or better. That's why I'm taking them with the 4.5 this week. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
Game opened up under over 47 at 6.5, and it's just dropped like the stock market due to Big Ben and his injuries. He's going to do everything that he can to play. We do know that if Ben doesn't play, that their backup quarterbacks have not done well here. So with that being said, looking at the numbers now, we're down to 3.5s and 3s all across the board, and 43.5, 44 totals. Here we bought the hook. We took the Bengals +5 minus the 120. Again, going back to that Chicago game, Pops, they were right in that game, and then Burrows threw 3 straight picks. And if he goes into Pittsburgh and does the same thing, I don't care if Terry Bradshaw's playing. They're not going to cover or win this game. So we're hoping that they keep it close. They win the turnover battle. Lean on Mixon. Take your shots with Jamar Chase. with Tyler Boyd, with T. Higgins, play some ball control. Don't go in there saying you got to score 31. And if they do that and they win the turnover battle, I think that Cincinnati's got a good shot to cover this game. And I hate to say it, they could steal one here as well. But we're on the Bengals plus the 5 minus the we bought the hook.
Jeff, I'm with you. You can only pick a side. I just feel that the Steelers will come in here and they'll spoil the better Sundays who are very high on the Bengals because everybody feels like the Steelers are a wounded duck. I feel that they're a wounded duck as well too. But then I have to remember the way that they play against teams like the Bengals and Browns when they come to Pittsburgh. These are their gym. These are their offers. You know what I mean? And they know that. And if they lose to the Bengals at home, they know it's going to be a bad season coming up. Now the Ravens, that's always a tough task. But Browns and Bengals, they feel like they have this mental control over both of those teams. So that's why I say to myself, maybe one more year before Burrow wins in Pittsburgh. He doesn't win in Pittsburgh yet. But the cover is very, very, very very strong here, but I still think that the Steelers wind up doing the do. All right, so we move on, and we have the Cards at the Jags, and I know I've been kind of like not being the gung-ho Kyler Murray's the next coming of Fran Tarkenton, you know what I mean? The next coming of whoever short quarterback survived in the NFL, Doug Flutie. You know what I mean? But the thing is, Kyler Murray is a damn good player. He's a damn good player. He shows us that the 5'10", 5'11" guy can survive in the NFL. This is if you're good enough, if you're tough enough, you'll be able to do something in this league. And I still think that what happens here is that their defense is going to be their defense has to be good for them to really win these games. Because the thing is, the defense was really good week 1, but they were really bad last week. Minnesota is a team that now is entered the phase of knowing how to lose a game even when we're up. Okay, and that's what happened with them last week. And, pretty much they were a field goal away from being 1-1. So I'm still not impressed with anything that the Cardinals have until they say, all right, we got to go get a new head coach. Because they do have a great offense. They got great pass rushers as well, too. But I think, though, at the end of the day, though, the Cardinals still need a real leader. You know what I mean? And they're looking good now. They're shiny right now, Jeff. But let's talk in December, you know what I mean, when things are different. You know what I mean? So, literally, what I'm doing here is I'm about to be, as I contradict myself, you would say that the way I'm talking about the Cardinals, I would be like, well, he must be taking the Jags this week. I ain't doing nothing with the Jags this week. The Jags are a work in progress. And right now, when you're a work in progress, September is never a good month for you. So I'm taking the Cardinals with the 7. I don't care. I think they win this game by 10 or better, Jeff. And that's it. And that's all. What are your thoughts?
The Cardinals absolutely mauled the Titans week 1. You could see right from the jump street, the Vikings were not having it. They controlled that game from start to finish. Unfortunately, missed that field goal at the end where, like you said, the Vikings should be 1-1 and the Cardinals should be 1-1. Now, what I hate about this game is the whole world's on the Cardinals. I'm a fade the public contrarian guy. I just can't see it. I can't see it until I'm proven wrong. I got to take the Cardinals. We bought the hook minus 6.5 again. Got to win by 7 or better. And listen, shame on the Cardinals, because I tell you what, if the Cardinals are looking past this game and they get beat here, okay, you got to look yourselves in the mirror here and say, holy moly here, we should be 1-2. Okay, and it's a typical coach like a Kingsbury that's telling their team we're 2-0 and we're going to Jacksonville, already looking past to the next week. So this is a game. Hey, listen, we bought the hook. The world's on them. If we get in here with a 7 or more win, we just move on, because this is a dangerous game here. If the Cardinals show up and play like they did against the Titans, they control the scoreboard. They win by 14, 17, 21. Chandler Jones, 5 more sacks. maybe a pick six, however it goes. But if they're peaking, look out. But we're on the Cardinals. Very, very, just move on. This is like, we believe in Murray and Hopkins, trust me, but this is a dangerous game here.
All right, so with that, we will be right back. We got another commercial break. You guys stay tuned to the NFL Bet Exchange with the one and only Pop DBICD Primetime Capper and the Don and Cape Cod himself, Mr. Jeff Dawson, and we will be right back to you.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we're back, and this got to be, this right here. I'm telling you right now, Jeff, I'm excited, and you know what? I don't really believe in the Chargers like that, but after the way that they played the Cowboys and the way that everything came back, even though I don't really agree with everybody running around saying that they're one of the top teams in the league, I saw the other day one of these talking heads put them in a tier. He's not really good at what he does. It was Nick Wright. Okay, so Nick Wright is automatically a Kansas City Chiefs fan, so I can't take anything he says seriously, just like Skip Bayless is being a Dallas Cowboy fan. I can't take anything he says seriously either. He showed the tiers of teams, right? And then he had the Chargers in the third tier of contender. Does he know what the Chargers really have? They got a fresh, brand new coach. They got a second-year quarterback, brand new system that they're trying to learn. They got an iffy defense, even though the defense actually has done good the last 2 weeks. They've only given up 33 points. So that means that's 16 and a half a week. That's pretty good. That's pretty good compared to the Chargers defense from last year that you could poke holes in fairly easily. Even if they were able to get stops early in the game, they wouldn't be there late. So the Chargers are 1-1. I would say that they once again they looked real good because they're playing against the NFC in the worst division in the NFC as well too. Now this is where we say, are they really that good? And I think they. And you know what? I'm not thinking like how Nick Wright is thinking, but I think that they are a top 15 team in the league, not top 10, but top 15. So pretty much what I'm doing here, Jeff, is I'm going to go ahead and tag them as the dog bet of the week and go ahead and give me these guys, man. Go ahead and give me this team right here. Go ahead and give me that money line on the Chargers this week. I love it, Jeff. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Plus 240 on the Chargers this week. We got an over-under of 55.5 that I don't think is going to get hit either. I think that the Chargers got a defensive game plan for Patrick Mahomes because you know what happened last time they played? Even though it was a throwaway game for the Chiefs, Chargers won. Hey, Chargers won.
I'm concerned in what I saw with Herbert last week.
Okay.
They took 2 touchdowns off the board. I thought he forced a lot of passes. And listen, maybe hats off to the Dallas D. They played great against the Bucs. 10 days off. They played great against the Chargers. I'm concerned, though. I didn't like what I saw there. But now let's flip the page here. The Kansas City defense can't stop a nosebleed on the ground. I mean, right. The Browns ran for 200. that the Ravens run for 200. If I'm Kansas City, I'm concerned, but I know I have 15 weeks to take care of this. In comes the Chargers. In comes Austin Eckler. In comes Keenan Allen. Williams. But I think what this game will show you here, even though you're going to see our pick in a second, is who makes the adjustments quickest. I mean, I think Mahomes with the salty taste, this is a good spot for them. I think that they're going to be able to move the ball. I don't think they'll lose 2 in a row. But here we bought the hook. We took the Chargers plus the 7. We're hoping they keep it within 7 or less. But I'm telling you right now, Pops, I look for a good first half. But I'm worried what I saw with Herbert. I'm a little worried about the coaching already. You know, we talked about this Monday on your show. You know, was Anthony Lynn actually coaching that game? Because it was the same damn resume blueprint that happened every week that Anthony coached, and we blamed him. That was a game that the Chargers had no right in losing, none whatsoever. And penalties. Back them up. It sounded every 2 seconds I heard the truck go beep, 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 because it was a penalty, false start, taunting, holding, whatever. So if they play that game, they lose by 14 or more. We took the Chargers plus 7. Wake up. You know, you've seen how to not just compete with Kansas City, but how to beat them. Kansas City theoretically should be 0-2 right now. They should be 0-2.
Right.
So if you don't go in and pound the rock, that's your fault here. But we're on the Chargers plus 7. But buyer beware here. Buyer beware.
I got you, Jeff. I got you. All right, because if you get a good Kansas City defense Sunday, it's lights out. But if you don't, then all bets are off with Kansas City. And I think Kansas City has way too much hype to them this year. And this is why now they're reading the press clippings, and you can tell. And I think that and Andy Reid, once again, is a great coach. But Andy Reid, when we talk about the legendary coaches, Andy Reid ain't in that group. You know that, Jeff. Legendary. I'm talking about the Lombardis of the world, the Belichicks of the world, the Curly Lambos of the world.
He got a Philly team 4 straight years to the NFC Championship game. He got into a Super Bowl. He lost. Okay, he won a Super Bowl. He's been in the last 2 Super Bowls. So, I'm not calling him Lombardi or Belichick, okay, but he's done more than, getting to the bigger games, just not maybe winning the bigger games. And he's in a situation where he can't lose. He's got, quote unquote, the best quarterback in the game. He's there as long as he wants to be there. And the enemy now that we haven't talked about is the fact that, it was funny because he even said, why would I be hired at USC when the AD was the guy that fired me in Colorado? He says, that's BS. They don't want me. He says, that's all BS and propaganda, but that's for another show.
And they got to buy out the contract, too, because he has a clause there that he's going to take over as the head coach the moment Andy Reid is done, which is not going to be much longer. You know what I mean? So pretty much probably this year. Chasing around that goofball Mahomes, it'll do it to you. Mr. I'm gonna call my own play and then throw the ball across the field and hope the receiver catches it. Biggest fraud. A fraud. He reminds me so much of A-Rod, dude. A-Rod was the same way. But let's move on. Final early game and the talk of the town now, Jeff. The little darlings of the NFL. And if you're a Browns fan, you want to puke when you hear how people are just so in love with your team. You want them to the Browns fans don't like being applauded. They want to be dogged. You know what I mean? They want to, they have the where were you at when we were 0-16? You know what I mean? Laughing at us. You know what I mean? Now you want to be, they're the best at this, they're the best at that. Because they're impressive. They have an overall team that really doesn't have many flaws to it. And they should be 2-0, but they got over that fairly quickly. They did get down in the game last week against the Texans, but that's understandable because that first game in Cleveland is always tough. We know because they haven't won an opener where most of their openers were at for the last 15, 20 years. They haven't won a home opener since, 16 years or something like that. And I don't think they ever won a road opener since they came back. But the point is that the Browns come into this game with a lot of love. With a lot of love. The Bears come into this game with a lot of hope. You know what I mean, Jeff? They hope their quarterback's going to be great. They hope their defense is going to be great. The Browns, if they are able to have OBJ line up in this game, I don't think they should have a problem beating the Bears on Sunday. The Bears are not as good on the defensive end as a lot of people think they are. I know that they held Burrow down, but come on, Joe Burrow dropped 14 points in about 3.5 minutes. And the way that the offense is playing right now, the way that they're quickly giving away the ball, especially with the guy I love, Justin Fields. He's going to get the full start Sunday. But the way he struggled in that fourth quarter and literally almost lost that game for the Bears, it makes you think a little bit more that maybe Nagy does know what he's talking about. Maybe we're all just jumping way too ahead of the gun. You know what I mean? But I think the Bengals have a better defense than the Browns do. All in all, when it comes down to the secondary end of it. Even though the Browns got the names, I think the scheme that the Bengals have are a little bit better at this point, and that's why they were able to do that. But I think that at the end of the day, if the Browns are able to run the ball here, they get OBJ here, this game shouldn't be an issue for them because the Bears are living on a lot of hopes right now, Jeff. And pretty much my thoughts with this, you got it over under at 46. My thoughts with this one, I will say that I will say that this game will wind up being to the Browns with the 7.5. I'm not worried about it. They do the same thing they did last week. They win by 10 or more points against a very, very middling Bears team. This Bears team doesn't have playoffs written on it at all. I don't like the way this defense looks at all, Jeff, even since preseason.
I'm looking at the numbers now. It opened at 46-9. And all the steam is on the fact that Justin Fields is starting. And now I'm seeing 45.5 and 6.5 and 7s. We bought the hook, took it down to 7. You know, your initial thought is 27-20. That's what they were trying to paint the picture. I'll be honest with you. I think that you know, if the Browns come and play Browns football, run the crap out of the ball with Chubb and Hunt, OBJ supposed to be in, play ground control, you know, and then you're going to make Justin Fields chase. He's not going to be on the field as much. He's going to be chasing the scoreboard. I think the defense has a big week for them. You know, I see this game 27-17, maybe 28-20, but I think the Browns bought the hook minus the 7. I can see a double-digit win here for the Browns.
With Clowney and Garrett coming off them edges, Jeff, and the way that this atrocious Bears offense blocks, Justin Fields is in for a long day, to be honest with you. Even though it's going to be in the state of Ohio, a place he's never lost before. But this ain't college, brother. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the late slate of the NFL, and we got the Sunday late game. All right, up first we have ourselves the Jets at the Broncos, and pretty much this one. Come on, Jeff. Everybody, see, this is just as one-sided as Cards Jags, and this is the Broncos' first home game of the season. You know, Broncos are a very fortunate team because I think they were the only team that was on the road the first 2 weeks, and they were able to get wins the first 2 weeks as well, too. I got to go back and look at my notes to see if anybody else did that, but I think they were the only ones who were able to. No, the 49ers pulled it off as well, too. Let me take that back. 49ers beat the Eagles and the Lions. So if you pretty much – the Broncos had the sweetest start to the season ever. You get the Jaguars week 1, a team that doesn't know what they really want to do yet. You know what I mean? You see, they still learn. They're a work in progress. And then you look up the next week, You look up the next week. Well, no, you had the Jags last week, and then you got the putrid Giants to start the season off. And everybody loves to look good in MetLife, but one thing that's helping this team out is Teddy Bridgewater. People try to tell me, I love you, Mike, but Drew Brees didn't teach that man how to be a good quarterback in the NFL. Seriously. He was already a good quarterback in the NFL before he snapped his leg. We both know this, Jeff. He had led his team to the playoffs, and there was nothing but a bright future for the Minnesota Vikings moving forward. If Teddy would have been healthy the next season, they would have been a top 3 team all year long, because Teddy Bridgewater has managed the Tom Brady school of quarterbacking, being the best game manager you can possibly be. It's not about airing it out 50, 60 yards down the field every other play. It's not about scrambling and like Randall trying to get a 20-yard run. It's about getting your team moving forward, getting your team points, and that's exactly what Mr. Bridgewater does. And he's been a guy I've liked since he got into the league. I loved him at Louisville as well too. And I just truly feel that he's a guy that's been overlooked way too much in this league. And I think that he's going to get a lot of love Sunday when the Broncos beat down the Jets, to be honest with you, Jeff, because the Jets are absolutely, you know what? There is no, it's bad, and then it's just below what's bad. And the Jets are what's below bad right now, in my opinion. So this ain't hard for me, Jeff. Go ahead and give me them Broncos 10.5. I don't even like taking spreads like this, but I'm going to do it anyway. 10.5 to the Broncos, Jeff.
We started this show with you are only as good as your last week performance. Okay? There was no worse team in the NFL last week than the Jets. I mean, week 2 in, Zach Wilson was seeing ghosts. Those same ghosts got Sam Darnold kicked out of the New York. Okay? Now, the Jets opening game struggled first half, got things going, and almost covered against the Panthers. Now, here come the Broncos, 2-0, chests out, home opener. We know Teddy doesn't lose in September. We know that. Okay? Let me just tell you one thing, though. The line opened at 43 under over and 7 and a hook. The public esteemed this to 10.5. Okay? So your 43 number was basically a 23-17 game, 24-17, somewhere in there. I'm not buying the steam. I'll let the public run as far as they want to run with this. We bought the hook. We took the Jets plus 11. That's all that means is this. Is if they're down 17 or less going to the final drive, and I get a Wilson to Corey Davis from the moon, and we cover, that's all that matters. Listen, the Jets stink. The stench is large, and it smells. But you're going to go from 7.5 to 10.5, 11. It's ugly, but we're taking the Jets, bought the hook to 11. We're praying, and we're just going to move on.
And I know where you're going with this too, Jeff, because the thing is that the Jets, this is the type of game the Jets can cover in, because the Broncos don't need much to beat them.
No.
You know, the Broncos could take a 10-point lead and just sit on that lead their whole game. We've seen it before with the Broncos in the late afternoon games where they'll play a bad team, but they don't blow out that bad team because they just don't have the offense that will tell you that they can just beat somebody down. Because if they did, they would have beat down the Giants week 1, and they would have beat down the Jaguars week 2. You know what I mean? Those games, they had a little bit of some issues early on in the game, but they were able to still dominate because those teams never got it together. You know what I mean? So it is what it is at the end of the day. So let's go ahead and look at this next game before we get into our final break. This is going to be the Seahawks at the Vikings, and they're making this game a lot more of a intriguing game, in my opinion, since we have Vikings team that should be 1-1, and we have a Seahawks team that, honestly, Jeff, should be 2-0. They had a 24-6 lead. How do you just blow that lead like that? You're in Seattle too.
Oh, Henry!
Yeah, hey, but you're in Seattle too. You know, we don't lose in Seattle, but that doesn't matter anymore. We
I
don't
didn't
lose
hear
in
the
Seattle.
12th man. Where was the 12th man?
The 12 man,
Hello.
the 12 man was somewhere at Rainier Beach or something like that by the time we got to the fourth quarter. You know what I mean? So oh Henry, oh my OMG, Henry. All right, so you got an over under of 55.5 here. I think Russell Wilson gets his due back. I think that he's going to be good in this game because they're always really good against the Vikings as well too. But one thing is though, Jeff, the Vikings always play the Seahawks tough. They always play them tough. That's why the line's not long here. But when I have a game where you have the Seahawks in a pick 'em situation, I always like to go with the Seahawks. I think that they're always a good bet here. And maybe some of that road cooking will do them some favors this week. They seem to like the road when they played against Indy. And I think this might be their calling card this year as well, too. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
I have to respect the opening number. A Viking team that's 0-2, that was a Dalvin Cook a fumble away from being 1-0. And then again, a missed field goal yesterday from being 2-0. I mean, on Sunday in Arizona. I would have respected the Vikings to be -1, 1.5, -2 at home, saying once you go 0-3, your season's over. But I'm looking at the opening line of 2.5 and 51. Now I'm seeing 1s and 1.5s and 55. So they're thinking a shootout at the OK Corral here. Seattle 1-0 on the road. They looked fabulous against the Titans opening week. We're grabbing Russ on the bounce back minus the 115 and moving on.
Sounds good to me, brother. Sounds good to me. All right, so that's where we're going. Me and Jeff are in unison when it comes to the Seahawks. So with that, we're going to take another quick break. And when we get back, we'll have the fourth quarter of the show. So you guys make sure to stay tuned. This is the NFL Bet Exchange with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the man himself, the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson. And we'll be right back to you.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune into Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we're back. Bucs Rams. This one should be a pretty good one too, as well, Jeff. You know what? This is probably the game of the week as well too, because it's in LA, Jeff. It's in Hollywood. It's Tom Brady, and then even my dad, he stays in Beverly Hills. I'm like, man, it don't matter. Tom Brady stays at the team hotel when it's a team situation. He ain't staying at his house. You know what I mean? And doesn't really matter. If you really wanted to be at your house in LA, you would have went and chose the Chargers or the Rams, and you didn't. Because the Chargers were sitting up there with their chest poked out. They thought they were going to get him, and be cool, and they wouldn't have to draft a quarterback at 6. They really thought they was going to get Tom Brady, and they wouldn't have to go get a quarterback for the next 2 years. And that was where the Chargers and Rams missed out on if you wanted a splashy quarterback. So the Rams settled for a guy who might be one of the most overrated quarterbacks to ever play the game, and that's Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford is good. He's a stat guy. But is he a true leader, Jeff? At the end of the day, you know what I mean? Is he a true leader of men? You know, do you get guys to the promised land? And that's a big, as Steve Austin would say, and pardon my French, that's a big hell no right there. You know what I mean? And maybe he can do it with the Rams because the Rams have a different situation than the lowly Lions. But we're only going to give him that pass for so many more weeks, Jeff. He's going to have to show us that he's A1 for real, for real. You know what I mean? Because you can be a B grade quarterback in Detroit and you can last a decade there. But you got to be A1 in LA, in my opinion. And I think that it is a good match now. You know what I mean? You got McVay with a guy that he doesn't have to overcoach. You know what I mean? And then you have the Bucs coming into this game cocky because they're the Super Bowl champs. They got Tom Brady, even though he's an elder statesman of the NFL. And at any given moment, it could be the season. But still, they got Tom Brady, so they got this big confidence in themselves as well too. That's why I love this game, and I think this game will be a really good one as well too, Jeff. And where I'm going here is I'm gonna take the Rams to get the LA love here, to get that situation going 54.5 as well too. But the Rams defense is a little suspect after what I saw last week against the Colts as well too. But there were a lot of mistakes in that game as well too. You know what I mean? That kind of got the Colts in that position. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
I'm looking at the opening number, Rams -1.5, and a total of 52.5. I'm seeing now that the Bucs are 1.5 and 55. This has got that old 28-27 written all over it. Basically, in a nutshell, two things here. Tom and company, going back to last year after the break, they won the last 5 games to end the season. Then they go on the road to Washington. They go on the road to the Saints. They go on the road to the Packers. They win that. So that's 8 in a row. They win the Super Bowl. That's 9 in a row. And they've won the first 2 games to start the season. That's 11 in a row. But Tom's got to be looking next week, Sunday night, primetime at Gillette. You know, and I know he's marked that one off. So is he peaking? I mean, how do you beat the Bucs? How do you beat Brady? You get him off his feet. So Donald's got to be living in that backfield to have a shot. I'm just going to ride with the flow here. We're taking the Bucs minus the 105 in the money line. Hey, listen, I would not be shocked to see the Rams win this game. Not at all. And especially if Donald's, creating havoc in the back there. The Bucs defense has not looked good this year. Can they slow down Cooper Kupp, who's had an amazing start? McVay loves some Stafford. He's finally got the quarterback that can move the ball. He's got confidence in him. It's going to be a hell of a game. Grab your popcorn, grab your beer, enjoy this game. But we're on the Bucs minus the 105.
And this is the rubber match this team has played each other in the regular season the last 2 seasons as well too. Splitting both games, and the road team won. So we'll see how this one goes. All right, we move forward to the Raiders and the Dolphins. What is this, 1972 or something? You know what I mean? Dolphins Raiders matchup, and it means something. Well, it meant something last year. Raiders, though, a surprising 2-0. A lot of people had the Raiders circled as 0-2 to start the season off, but Derek Carr, 817 passing yards to start the year off. Absolutely amazing. You know what I mean? And pretty much Derek Carr is finally, kind of turning the corner a little bit. But at the same time, too, though, they went against 2 teams that they were able to find some weaknesses in. And that's John Gruden at his best. John Gruden is not an overnight type of coach. Only way that worked was when he was in Tampa Bay because that team was pre-made. You go up in there and it's a pre-made meal and it's an awesome meal. All you got to do is put it in the oven. That's exactly what Tampa Bay was. So pretty much now the Raiders were a team that he had to do what he did the first time he was first spot he was at, which was with the Raiders, create a team, create a culture that he can go ahead and actually coach and have guys execute with. And I think the Raiders have reached this point. What happens here is the Raiders' pass rush is going to be the difference in this game. There will be no Tua. Last time they played against Brissett, they did beat the Colts as well, too. So they know how to come at him a bit. And I'm not saying Brissett ain't a good quarterback. And Mike had a very good, what I like to say, a very good fight for him, saying that how good of a quarterback he was and blah, 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 blah. But you know what? Things were different in Indianapolis, though, in my opinion. Miami isn't as good offensively as the Indianapolis was. Now they're good defensively. We'll give them that, but when you get smoked 35 to zip, how really good is your defense? You know what I mean? But this is the type of game where the Raiders can actually dominate the game as well too. And if they have everybody intact, I think that the Raiders should be really good in this spot. And I don't think it should be an issue with the Raiders winning this game. So that's why I got the Raiders at -40 in this spot. And we got an over under of 45 and a half. So it's 45 and a half, not 45.6. But okay. What you call it? All right. So Jeff, that's where I'm going with this. What are your thoughts on this game?
I look here, the actual opening line under over 48 and Vegas -1. And right there is an alarm bell for me. Yes, Tua is out, and that game was over early. As soon as Bills went up 7-0, Tua gets taken off in the cart. The rest was history. Brissett has a full week here. I look for them. This is upset alert for me. Again, that line was one. I know the Raiders are 2-0. I know they stole a game against the Ravens. And I know opening week, that was the Ravens, I'm sorry. And last week again, playing well. I smell something here. I don't know if it's trap, or whatever. We're comfortable, with the Dolphins plus the 3.5, but we see an extreme lot of value here. The Dolphins are 1-0 on the road this year, and they won in New England. We're looking for a big bounce back here. We're taking the Dolphins plus the 160 pops to win the game outright.
All right, Jeff over there, afternoon dogs.
Oh!
Trying to get all you Vegas people to the Win Buffet later on that night. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about our Sunday night football game. The Sunday night football, I've been waiting all week for Sunday night football. Yeah. Uh-oh. All right. A little glitchy there, Jeff. A little glitchy there, but we are coming down to the end, so we don't have to worry about this. And let's see what our comments are looking like. Let's go. But who's Trevor? I guess they were trying to answer your question earlier when we were talking. But yeah, always like to see interaction from our fans. Packers, 49ers. This game has been a rough one for the Packers literally the last 15 years. It's a tough game for the Packers when they go to the Bay Area. Since I think about 2007 or 2008, I don't think they've won a game there, to be honest with you. I know that they've beaten the 49ers in Green Bay, but I think they've only beaten them once. This is another kryptonite team for Aaron Rodgers as well. You know what I mean? And, Aaron Rodgers, can he bounce back this week after, come on, Detroit. Come on. It was Detroit. Aaron Rodgers could have did all that in his sleep. You know what I mean? This is a measuring stick for Aaron Rodgers right here with the 49ers this week. But you know what? The 49ers, to me, didn't get challenged, Jeff. Come on. They had a scrimmage game against the Lions. And, the Eagles were trying hard. But the Eagles did show that their offense is a middling offense. It's not an explosive offense. Even though you got Hurts running up and down the field, that's just to save you on drives and things of that nature. That doesn't mean your offense is good. You know what I mean? So this week, the 49ers actually play a team, what I would like to say, that has a true pulse. You know what I mean? And the Packers should be better this week because they found out how to finish off defensive drives as well, too, unlike in the Saints game. And Aaron Rodgers is coming back home maybe for the last time, if he maybe might retire at the end of the year. He is from the Bay Area, Cal Berkeley alumni, one of the greatest to ever do it. And just real quick, I know that we're running short on time, but just a fun story. It's unbelievable how Deshaun Jackson, Marshawn Lynch, Aaron Rodgers all played with each other at Cal. All three of those guys are pretty much due to the Hall of Fame. Let me go ahead and talk about the USC Trojans, who were supposed to be the gods of college football at this same time. Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, and my man, what's his name? You had Jared as well too. But then you had Mike Williams as well, who was supposed to be the next coming of Randy Moss, who was a part of that unit as well too, the first season out. So they said those three should be guaranteed Hall of Famers. And the Cal guys were just really good players. It's funny. Those guys will never see the Hall of Fame. Well, Reggie, maybe. Just maybe. No, he won't see the Hall of Fame either. He didn't do enough to get to the Hall. So pretty much that's crazy. That's crazy. And all the accolades went to USC because they had an overall better team. But when it comes down to who was successful in the NFL, those three guys plus Justin Forsett. Clap, clap, clap. Just had to say that for Cal real quick. And acting like the Cal Bears are up in here funding the show or something. But yeah, I just had to throw that out there real quick. And I'm a Southern California guy. But all in all, when it comes down to the game, I'm going to take the Packers to win plus 150, Jeff.
You know, on paper, this game does not set up or bode well for the Packers. They've come in here 2 years ago in the championship game, and I think they lost like 41-10 or something. Again, it is which Aaron Rodgers is going to come in on the, you know, is it the arrogant SOB where they get down early and he folds the tent, or is this going to be a team that looks to, you know, to fight? You know, the 49ers backfield is decimated right now with injuries. And you know, they got the scheme, just plug and play. Well, who the hell's going to plug and play? I have no idea. Is Mitchell going to play? They got another guy they signed off the taxi squad from Cincy earlier this week. Sermon in protocol, concussion protocol. Jeff Wilson won't be back for another month. So it is what it is. I said, you know what? I'll take the chance here. I'm not going to take the 3.5. I'm not buying the hook to 4. I'm going to take the swing plus the 150 value as well here, Pops. Hope they come out early and often. I think it's going to be a hell of a game, though. Packers plus the 150 here.
And another thing is San Francisco just hasn't been good on Sunday Night Football lately. They've lost some games that they were supposed to win heavily, like last year against Philly. You know what I mean? It's tough to take them in this spot. I just think that the pressure be too much for these guys sometimes, Jeff. All right, let's go ahead and talk about Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football. It's going to be an NFC East party. We got Phillies. We got the Philly Broad Street Bullies and the Dallas Cowboys. Yay. Cheesesteaks and barbecue. That's what this game is. Cheesesteaks and barbecue. This one's a toughie, Jeff. But you know what, though? The Eagles intrigue me a lot. I don't know why I like this team. I've never really liked the Eagles like that in any seasons. But they intrigue me this year because I think they got a strong possibility of winning the NFC East. Even though the Cowboys should run away with this thing, there are no guarantees with Jerry's game. Why? Because Jerry. And we'll see how it goes the Monday night. But all in all, though, I still think to myself, you got an over-under in this game of 51.5. They're saying that there's going to be points scored, even though when you look at it, this team has only scored 49 points. That's only good for 24.5, you know, in the season with the Eagles, Jeff. And they regressed because they played against a better defensive team last week. Now, the Falcons are lousy on defense. The Cowboys, you don't know what this defense holds. But I think they're going to have a good game against this Eagles offense. But it's going to come down to the numbers in the end and who has the ball at the most crucial time. And I think that the guy who's going to step it up big here is going to be Hurts to keep the game close. I'm not saying the Eagles win, but I will take the +4 on the Eagles just to say, let's play the insurance game, and we'll go from there. You've got an over-under 51.5, like I said before. That's a big number to me right there, but the +4 Eagles having another exciting game on Monday Night Football, which Monday Night Football really needs is an exciting game here in the third week because we didn't get one the first 2 weeks, in my opinion. Well, yeah, hold on. I'm sorry. The Raider game. Sorry. the Raider miracle. You know what I mean? So, hold on. That's where I'm going, Jeff. +4. What are your thoughts?
Divisional game Monday night. Dallas finally home opener, and well-deserved home opener. Again, they played amazing against the Bucs. and they stole one in LA. The opening numbers were 52.5 and 3.5 minus 105. That's telling us right there, Vegas thinks 28-24 final, right on your 4. We see some value here. I think it comes down to two things. Is the Philly D going to be able to put pressure on Dak? When they do look for a pick 6, the defense is very, very aggressive. Or is Cooper, Lamb, and Cedric Wilson going to just tear them apart? I did like what I saw from Tony Pollard. He looked amazing last week. He really opened my eyes, looked real quick to the line. But we're taking the value here. We're going to say, you know what, guys? Let the dogs bark and let them bark loud. So Eagles plus 170, Jalen Hurts to Devontae Smith for the burner and the winner.
Dogs gonna bark. Dog. Just like DMX used to say, dog gonna bark. Yep. Whoa. But this isn't a whoa moment. This is a you pick a moment right here, and I think this line will go down as well too. But all in all, though, man, me and Jeff, we both love the dogs here. You know, the dog whisperers. So pretty much that's what we try to give you guys, the best value that you can possibly get. Jeff, where can they catch your great shows at and everything like that? Because pretty much Jeff's been killing it with his morning segments and everything like that. So you guys make sure to tune in for that. Jeff, where can they find you at?
On Twitter at EC Sports Invest. Follow us. We'll follow you right back. Turn on those notifications. The Breakfast Bankroll every morning where we break down the night before's events, MLB, college football, NFL, whatever the subject is. We give you the opening numbers from the night before to what the sharps are saying and where the numbers are. If you have any questions, take a look at our website at www.eastcoastsportsinvestors.com. A lot of first-time client specials. Come join the VIP experience for as little as $99 a month. And any emails, eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com. We'll fire them right back at you. We're here to educate, not entertain, even though we do crack a few jokes. We are the dog barking crew here. We were the dog pound before the Browns were the dog pound. So we're looking for another big week here, and blessed and honored to be with my main man, Pops.
All right, man. And you just know we appreciate and love everybody that watches this show. You guys make sure to share it, retweet it, do what you got to do. But this is a movement, and you guys have to understand that. And we are over here to help you make money. All right. And we've been doing a damn good job of it. So pretty much make sure you keep tuning in. Tell your friends. Tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell your grandpa, tell your cousins, whoever you got to tell. But we here, and we will make sure that we keep you winning, all right? So with that, I want to thank you guys so much once again for tuning in. I want to thank my main man, Jeff Dawson, the Don of Cape Cod. We'll be back to you next Thursday. And you guys, man, bet with your head, not with your heart. If you got a hunch, bet a bunch. And we are gone. We'll see you later.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFL Bet Exchange, where the sharpest bets are laid. This show was produced by the Prime Wave Media Group.